Hi, Claire and James here. Just before we get stuck into this week's episode, we wanted to let you know the exciting news that the Midlife Reset audit is now live. This is a first of its kind personalised diagnostic tool designed for midlifers by midlifers.
In just 3 minutes, the audit will help you pinpoint what's really holding you back from living your healthiest, happiest midlife, and most importantly, provide tailored strategies on how to take back control. Midlife doesn't have to be a time of uncertainty. It can be an era of growth, discovery, and well-being. So to go ahead and take the audit, go to themidlifementors.com/audit. In this episode, we're joined by ex-Special Forces operative Joe Bates, who's also the founder of coaching brand Halen. We talk about Joe's journey, which took him from the armed forces to trading in the city to founding Halen.
In this refreshingly honest conversation, we cover topics as diverse as why men need guy time, the stress epidemic, the power of breathwork and cold water immersion, along with pros and cons of the digital world in the wellbeing space.
Joe is truly inspirational, as is the work Halen is doing, and we hope you enjoy the podcast as much as we enjoyed recording it. Hi, I'm James Davis.
And I'm Claire Davis.
We're the Midlife Mentors, here to lift the lid on how to achieve health and happiness.
The balanced, no-nonsense way.
Welcome to another episode of the Midlife Mentors with me, James.
And me, Claire. We've got some really exciting news, haven't we?
We have.
If anyone's been listening to our podcast recently, we have been busy bees behind the background creating a one-of-its-kind midlife reset audit, which is kind of a diagnostic at looking at where you are in your life at various in various areas of your life, everything from like the mind, the body, and the soul. And then giving you a personalized report and strategies to start making your years to come the best years yet. So we have actually now launched it.
Yeah, you can now go and take that. We'll drop the link into the show notes. It will be themidlifementors.com/audit. So come, see how you're doing on your midlife scales, where your blocks are, how you can improve. We're so thrilled about this. Now we've been banging on about it for ages.
We have, but it's been quite it's complicated.
Complicated to build.
Tech hasn't been our friend. I know lots of other people have been having issues with tech recently, so I don't know what's going on. Maybe the eclipse or something. But yeah, we've had a few technical difficulties, but we are there now and it is live. So we're really excited for you to go through that and let us know what you think. What else have we been up to? We haven't actually started that podcast talking about the weather, which is amazing.
I think we had a mini tornado like a couple of days ago, right? It's at the moment in the UK, if you're listening from anywhere else in the world, we seem to be swinging between like sunlight and 20 degrees to like hailstones and 5 degrees, and the weather there could be frost. I think that's enough about the weather.
Yeah, well, we didn't start it with the weather, so I feel quite proud of ourselves for that. But and then we started going back in the ponds, Hampstead Heath ponds, for a little swim and stuff. So that's been nice. It's a lot warmer than it was when we were breaking the ice and throwing ourselves in the ice.
Yeah, it's good.
But yeah. Anyway, without further ado, we have a guest.
We do. Today. Very excited for our guest today. So we are joined by Joe Bates, ex-Special Forces and founder of Halen. Joe, welcome.
Hello.
Hello, guys. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here.
Thanks for your time.
And I know I'm just gonna outrightly apologise because I've been useless, haven't I? And been trying to actually get this pod finally done. But I'm here. All right.
Yes.
You've been a hard man to pin down, but
well, I should be, right. I should be. That's on brand. But no, not from being ill. But no, my young. I've got a beautiful young 12-year-old lad. And he just he picked up the usual school bugs and then lovely in a loving way gave it to me and my whole family. So we've just all been hit by it. But I'm back on my feet and I'm very happy to be here.
I mean, with those germs and things, sharing is caring, right?
Exactly. I mean, honestly, it's the classic. Right? I was doing the school runs with him, and he's like sneezing, snotty, and just like, I'm like, you just like, when am I going to get this? You don't. Aren't you? You physically cannot pick this stuff up from young kids when you're around them like that. So But it's good. It's good. But yeah, guys, look, thank you for having me. I'm super excited about it.
Yeah,
Great to have you here.
thank you. So let's dive in, shall we? Tell us a little bit about Halen. What actually is it? Because people are like, Halen, what? What is it? Tell us.
With this weird name thing, it sounds kind of interesting. So Halen is a wellbeing company with a difference. So everyone that works at Halen has served in the military, some division of the military at some point, I think. And one of the most important things is that every single one of us, every single part of the team has been through their own trials and tribulations, not just within the military, outside the military as well. And so we've got, battle scars in that sense, but also from how much of a slog life is. I've got so much I want to talk to you guys about actually at the moment that I'm seeing from like an insight standpoint from working with different groups of people, different sectors, different ages, males, females, some really interesting things. That you talked about the weather then, and like every single person that we've been workshopping with and doing what we do, and I'll get into that in a second, it's been banging on about how hard this winter's been.
Yes.
I think it's been a long, horribly wet winter, right? And I think I definitely suffer from like SAD. I 100% do, like 100%. And it just does my partner's head in, because when it's sunny, I'm like the most annoyingly positive person. And then when it's rainy, I'm still positive. I mean, I can't do what I do and not be positive, but it does get me. But yeah, so we use guys and girls that are ex-military that have gone through their own journeys to then provide different well-being tools and methods to help people just become stronger and happier, right? Whether that's we do breath work, whether that's called immersion. You guys were talking about your pond dips. I love a cold dip. It's interesting, guys. I love a cold dip. Although I took a group yesterday up in the Cotswolds. We're running a retreat up in the Cotswolds. We got on a lake up there. I got them all in. We bigged it up, and it was like, they were all a bit nervous. The group had like 10 of them, and got them in, and like 3, 2, 1 dip, and all of them dipped, and it was like no one lost their breath. It basically wasn't cold enough. I was like, right, ow, and then straight in the ice bath. Like it just wasn't quite cold enough. It needs to be cold to work.
Yeah, it does. I really noticed. So we were going in, I think it was about 2 degrees. Obviously, we were breaking the ice to go in at one point. And then we hadn't been for like a few weeks, and it's gone up to 11. And I was like, well, this is balmy. I mean, I was in there for ages. So I thought it makes, like, couldn't believe the difference it makes.
It's a huge difference. And I've got an ice bath at home, and I think, again, because I've been slightly unwell, I wasn't using it. And this week, again, pre-marathon, because I'm running a marathon on Sunday, I've been like, right, I need to just ice the hell out of myself as much as possible. So I'm like, I was in it at like 5:30 this morning, and it felt cold. It felt really, really. I mean, ours isn't crazy, it's at 2 degrees, but yeah, it's interesting, right? But I love that, guys. I love experiencing different things. Like if you just have the same thing every time, it's a bit boring. You have to be regimented and be diligent to build routine. We know that. Like it's too easy otherwise. But I do believe in not just doing the same thing all the time, right?
Exactly.
Try different stuff.
Yeah. And I think
you have to keep mixing it up, otherwise, it just gets a bit boring, doesn't it? So that's it. Have the discipline to do the thing, but just keep doing it in different ways and try different things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it also, like, I my morning routine, I wake up at like 5:45, 6 for. Why did I say that? I know what time my alarm goes up at 6. I was lying to you. Why did I say 5:45? It goes up at 6, and I basically walk downstairs, do the usual, don't look at my phone, don't go near the darkness of the phones, if that makes sense. And I tend to walk downstairs, do a couple of rounds of breath work, just sat there in my front room, like no one's up, my boy's not up yet, just a couple of rounds, get floaty, set my intentions, go and throw myself in the ice, and then start the day. But my point is, I'm pretty religious with it. But then when I have times off, like I'm poorly, or you go away or stuff, it's so nice when you come back to it. It's just like you feel amazing.
Yeah, and it's really interesting that you say that, because it's only been fairly recently like that. We're really super disciplined, obviously, like what we do, and really regimented is an interesting word, because actually when you're too regimented, it can feel like a chore. It can feel like, even though you're getting up and you're being disciplined, you're doing the same things, like breath work, gratitude lists, setting your intentions, doing some journaling. For me, and I know the same is for you, James, like actually you have to mix that up. Otherwise, you just start becoming really apathetic about it. So, so I now do lots of different things because I know that's my personality type. Like I don't like doing the same thing over and over again.
I think also like life's changed, right? Like, no, I mean, I work from a home office at home. I travel a lot with what we do. But if you're someone that works from home, and your routine was get up at 6, do some breath work, jump in your ice bath, have some breakfast, log in, go. It can become so boring because you're not doing what we used to do as much anyway, as commute, meetings in town, like trains, cars, automobiles, all that kind of stuff on a daily basis.
Yeah.
So I feel like some of the kind of TikTok warriors and Instagram guys that like preach about like your diligent routine, bam, bam, bam,
Exactly.
it can actually be damning, it can be quite negative, I think.
Yeah.
So
Totally.
fine line, sir.
And some of those people set really unrealistic routines, but like, yeah, man, my alarm goes up at 3:30, then I'm in my ice bath for an hour, then I pray for 5 hours. And you're like, they've got a list of like 30 things they've supposedly done in the morning. You're like, that would have taken you 5 or 6 hours.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's bullshit.
People
It's
think,
literally.
oh, I'm
It's
failing,
bullshit.
I'm failing in comparison to it. So it can have quite an unhealthy effect, I think. You're right.
I mean, I just don't even get it. I mean, I'm not going to. Well, I'm going to kind of slightly knock it. Goggins is amazing. David Goggins, like what he's done, he's built a really strong brand. He's almost turned into his stereotype himself.
Yes,
He's
he
like
has.
grown into it, so he's become
Yes, he
more
has.
outrageous. But Goggins' morning routine, like he doesn't even mention his kids. He's definitely got kids, and he doesn't mention them, which is fine. But like he can't pack them in. And then he talks about going for meetings, and he doesn't take a phone, and he leaves his phone at home and goes into LA or New York meetings. And I'm like, it's just not feasible. Like you
Yeah.
physically can't do it.
Yeah.
So you've got all
Especially
these
with
little
kids.
like, yeah, yeah. It's just funny. It just makes me laugh. I think there is the market that we're in terms of the well-being, helping people space. It needs to be careful sometimes of being unrealistic.
Yeah.
Because I think it can set people up to fall.
Mhm.
And then when those people do fall, they can fall harder than other people, if that makes sense. So
Yeah, totally makes
quite
sense.
dodge.
It does make you feel like you're failing, if you're not ticking all the boxes. Oh, hang on a minute, I'm supposed to be doing breath work. Hang on a minute, I'm supposed to be doing an ice bath. Hang on a minute, I'm supposed to be praying. Hang on a minute, I'm supposed to be doing a gratitude list. It's like, and running a household, holding down my job, holding down my relationship and my kids. Like,
Yeah.
it's got a negative side for sure.
Mm. Joe, you've got quite a unique background story there. But what inspired you to come up with Halen, with the whole concept? What really drove you to do that?
So I'll whip through why I got to Halen, right? Because it's you tell the story a lot, and I kind of almost sometimes cringe at my voice, but I shouldn't say that. So 17, grew up in Devon, lovely family, mum's psychologist, and my dad was a kind of high-flying businessman at somewhere called the Camelot. Do you remember when the National Lottery first came out? It's called Camelot. So he worked there, worked with those guys on like kind of arts funding and things like that. And he developed something called Pick's disease when I was 17, which is the most severe form of Alzheimer's. So he was like in his 40s, just, I mean, super, super aggressive. We're talking like a couple of years, the brain just stops functioning and you don't really know who people are. And it was brutal. So I flunked my A levels. I always say I use that as an excuse. I was basically going to flunk it anyway, but I just was not that. I was a bit naughty at school. And wanted to get away from everything. So looked at what militaries to join, because I wanted to go and like, losing a dad at 17 is pretty brutal when I was the youngest. It's not easy. And I just wanted to get away and not have to think. And almost there was definitely an element of self-torture. I just wanted to like hammer myself to try and outweigh the trauma that I think I've just been through. And I've picked this apart since I've been through this and since I'm in this space. So joined the Royal Marines, always shot from a young age because I grew up in Dartmoor, not people, obviously, that'd be illegal. And then went straight to Iraq as a sniper, and then came back from Iraq and went on to British Special Forces selection. So, and then passed for the Special Boat Service at 20, which is quite young. And then did back-to-back tours of Afghanistan, hostage rescues, that kind of thing. Left after about 8 years, bodyguarded an American ultra high net worth very prominent American. Everywhere outside of the US, he had his own American bodyguard team, and I was his bodyguard outside of the US whenever he traveled. I suppose I got the good jobs, right? It was like the Caribbean and stuff. It was brilliant. bodyguarding in a Hawaiian shirt is quite fun, trust me. And then he made a lot of his money on Wall Street, and I'm sat there. I'm like 26 at this point. I've got a lot of fire in my belly. I've done quite a lot. My friends were just at university when I was probably on my like third tour with a beard down here with Special Forces. So, he made his money on the market. So I took my trading exams and knocked on the door of all the banks, and Citibank said, if you can come in and pass the grad scheme for us, you can become a trader. So I did that, passed that, and became a trader at Citibank.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, which was amazing, right? Like super, I found it really, really hard going from like what I had done
I know.
and like application of what I'd done. But one thing that, as I think one of the main attributes of SF guys is that they have this ability. We just have this ability to learn. Like it's because they teach you a soft skill, right? Whether it's demolitions or sniping or medic or talking to your jets or anything, right? They basically teach you it once and they expect you to know it. So you're just a sieve. I didn't necessarily understand what I was learning in the banking sector, but I understood it enough to do it. But it was a wake up. Suddenly getting that like night bus, getting up at like 4. It's not even what time it is, but it was getting up at like 4, Cracker Sparrows, getting the night bus across Battersea Bridge, and then across the Sloane Square tube, first tube in the winter. Like everyone just stood there like that, like knackered, right? Like, and then you get to Canary Wharf, you don't even see the sun. You just, because the tube goes underneath the main towers, right? So you just literally go straight into your trading desk, and then trade all day, and then go out at night, booze like a trooper if you were that sort of person, which I was. A lot of client entertaining, and I just burnt out. I just literally burnt out. Like I did it for about a couple of years. I mean, fundamentally, I think I burnt out because I didn't like the job. If that makes sense. I think that was a huge element of it because I just wasn't interested in it. I'd hear traders come in and discuss stocks and shares and bonds and things on a Monday morning, and I was just like not interested at all. I was there simply to try and make loads of money. And I think like certain people can not be interested and make loads of money, but you have to be a certain type of person, and that's not me. Like I didn't join SF. You don't get paid thousands and thousands of pounds to be a special forces operator. You do it because you want to be the best at that thing. So that was really interesting, and I've carried that ever since leaving that moment in my life. That money should be the byproduct. Never ever just hunt for it. Like because you will work so much harder if you truly believe in what you're doing. You guys know this. That's what you do, right? So left the bank, went through a kind of therapy process, went to see someone in Harley Street, because again, this is God, how long ago? It's 14 years ago, something like that. And we've got to think about how much the mental health and how much it's changed. Like it's become like completely changed now. I think to the point now it's completely normal for someone to say, yeah, they're suffering about their mental health. Even during COVID, if people said that, they'd be like, oh, okay, what's going on? It's a bit weird. But like people just know how tough it is out there, economically, commercially, everything. It's really, really tough, right? So my point is, I think more and more people are suffering, which actually means that more people are aware of it. And just so went through a kind of counselling process and found the space really interesting. I said my mum was a psychologist. She ran psychology for schools in the UK. So I think there was an element of that resonated. I always also found like why people do things really interesting from just like even like a business standpoint, like brands, like why people are affiliated to Nike over Adidas, why people, what they love about even Tyson Fury over Anthony Joshua from like a brand standpoint. So I was always very design creative led the way I think. And that was it. I was like, bugger it. Why can't we create a wellbeing mental health company that's just a bit different? Let's make it a bit more tattoos. Let's try and add a bit of rock and roll into it. Let's make it just a bit slicker, a bit more aspirational, because I started it pre-COVID and then built it during COVID, like
Right.
literally on my dining room table with the doors open. Do you remember how lovely that first lockdown it was for me anyway? Like the sun was shining,
Oh, I
trying
know.
to not look at
We love
it was yeah,
lockdown. I know it's not really
it was
something that you
amazing,
can
right?
say. There's a
No, you
guilt that
can. No, I think you can. We can. We're like, obviously, it's horrendous what happened, and we like our thoughts and hearts are with everyone that died and people that have been affected now. But like, we shouldn't be scared of saying we had a great time. And but again, like, I honestly think, guys, like a lot of that for me was the weather. Like, it was just baking hot, and
same,
I was just like, yeah, loved it.
same, same. And I like actually taking a walk from ours. So we're like Belsize Park area. So just taking a walk into London, into Soho, and like not seeing a soul. And it was just
Mm.
now like getting the tube and all that sort of stuff. We just
Workouts in the park,
workouts in the
in the
park.
sunshine. Yeah.
Yeah. So sorry, we digress. Yeah.
No, so yeah, they built it then, and launched it during COVID. And yeah, it's been, oh God, how long ago is that? 4 years? Is that
4
roughly
years.
four? You think 3.5,
4.
4 years? Yeah. So and super excited. We launched basically with a platform that provided one-to-one life coaching, okay, by ex-military guys. Yeah. So using the military thing as a bit of a Trojan horse that were different to normal coaches
Yeah.
or therapists and that want to work. Now, I'd argue that interesting, probably our user base was like 60% men, 40% women then, right? We relaunched to look even more kind of, I would say, even more alpha, talk even more to the male market, and our SKU's gone more female over male over the last. So
Why
like,
do you think that is? James mentioned
it's
to me. Why do you think that is? I mean, have you looked into that?
no, I think well, yeah, I know why it is. I do know why it is. Our products changed, right? So we initially were just one-on-one coaching, and our one-on-one coaching is still quite male heavy. But when we've gone into more breath work, more cold immersion, more other things, exactly the take up. So most of our workshops and retreats we do, it's probably 90% women, right?
Mm,
Over guys.
yeah.
Although get this, so I go around at the start of every workshop, whether it's mixed or with men, and we tend to ask on a scale of 1 to 10 over the last 6 months how stressed you've been. 1 being like you're like zen, the most happy on a beach ever, right? 10 being you're really, 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 really bad, right? Like really, really bad. Yeah. On average, we're like 6. Our average group, and we've run hundreds of workshops, our average groups are 6 and 7s, roughly. Yeah. We ran our first, was it? Yeah, it was our first exclusively all male workshop over the last couple of weeks. And every single one of them in the room was an 8 or a 9.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that. Yeah.
8 and a 9. Every single one of them, 8 and 9. I mean, some of them were like, when we finished the breath work, I mean, it was stunning, right? It was really, really beautiful. It's big, hard, successful, burly guys. There were tears. There were people just completely opened up. Like, and that's why I'm sure you guys do breath work. We are fully aware of it, but that's why it's such a clever tool
Breathwork's
to
amazing.
access. Yeah,
Totally.
to access and to get people like that to just suddenly go, fuck
Yeah.
it, fuck it. I'm just gonna let it go. And but yeah, I mean, it was just like wow, right? It says a lot. Men
It's incredible,
not
isn't it?
releasing.
Yeah.
That's what it says to me.
And Joe, do you think it's because men are more stressed or men aren't as good at dealing with stress as women?
The latter, the latter. It's. I don't think men are more stressed. I don't think because we mean you just know. We all know that's just not true.
Yeah.
Like even it's all relative, right? And even if times have changed, it's not like the men are the earners and the women aren't the earners. Like the couples graft their butts off both together to make things work, and you're all in it together. I simply think that as a man, you're brought up with social pressures that make you feel like you can't talk. And even from a relationship standpoint, the man feels like he has to have his Can I swear on this pod, by the way? Can I
Yeah,
swear on this pod? Fine.
yes,
Right,
loads. That was my best answer. Loads.
Yeah, loads.
Yeah, loads.
But guys, I think family men, feel like they have to have the shit together. Like we're brought up like that. We're brought up like that, and I've even had it. I've even had that with my partner. I felt really wobbly in the past, and I probably will in the future. That's just life. How we deal with it's another thing, but we're just not good at talking about it. We're just really not. We're really not good at talking about it. It's that simple. But
yeah, I'd agree with that completely. And I think it's a real challenge in the wellbeing space we face is like, how do we get more men to kind of take that first step to open up and want to talk about their feelings and like look for support actively? Because you're right, we've still got this cultural conditioning that, if I've got a problem, I'll keep it to myself. I don't want to appear weak by saying that I'm struggling with this thing. And I think it's
you know what is interesting? So it's really interesting that this bit we're on right now, which is I'm not going to pull my punches. I'm not going to like leave this in a certain way, but there's reason why I'm saying this. Like the whole massive topic at the moment about gender, like men, women, like what people identify as, the differences. And I'm going to skirt around this, but I'm just saying as a general concept to discuss. It's really interesting because, at the end of the workshop, I took the guys, we all went for a few beers at our local pub and we took them and sat round. And actually, after taking them through that kind of journey, they were all opening up and over a beer, and then they were laughing and talking about things. And it was wicked. And a lot of them were saying that guys need, the cliche is that guys say they need things like guy trips, like the dad's nights out, or that, no, but hear me out. This is really interesting because guys, the stereotype is that guys kind of use those things as an excuse to go golfing or go on the lash or but actually, the guys release when they're around each other because they can act like chimps, like all blokes are, we're just like big monkeys that mess around, right? But it's the first time that I heard it from about 3 people around the table whilst they're having beers after doing a big, let's call it a wellbeing workshop with men. And I completely got it. I really understood it, what they meant by that. It's not just a lads trip. Like genuinely, maybe we need to do some more of that. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's almost bloke therapy. But it needs rebranding. It's not just a golf trip. Well, it is a golf trip, but they are venting on what they do.
Yeah, totally.
Oh, I think there's something in that, Joe. I observed it when I was living in Ibiza. I had friends that were going to just sharing circles and all this kind of stuff. And they come back really frustrated going, oh, I felt so competitive in that. So-and-so said this, so I felt I had to up them. And I was just like, and I realized, I was like, I think you'd be better off coming to the local like bar with me because I have the most honest conversations like man to man in there. Like, and I think that's the thing for men. Maybe sometimes we do need to get away and just have that guy time and have those honest conversations and have a bit of fun.
Yeah, and I think personally, like us, again, I need to be careful here, but I with anything James does around.
But should we be careful? Sorry, but should we be careful?
No, and actually, most of the time, I'm not careful enough. But so I'll just say it. We were having a conversation about this yesterday about the fact that I just say it. So I was trying to temper really, but I'm not very good at that. No, I think us women, there has I think I'm discovering a lot more women that are on the same page as me, which is really nice. But anything that James does around men's mental health, anything he wants to do, like personally, like go away on a lad's holiday, go away on I'm like, just go. I encourage it because I think I inherently know what you two have just said. It's like, obviously there's a huge trust issue there in the sense that, maybe women don't necessarily want their partner to go away, but that's a whole nother conversation. But if we're secure in a relationship and we respect that person, we want them to be the best version of themselves. I think, I will always encourage James to do all of that kind of stuff. And then obviously, with anything that you do around the career side of it with men, I'm like, this is really positive. And us women need to get behind that. Like we really do. Because to a certain degree, they feel demasculated. They feel like they've had their legs cut off a lot of the time from all this, feminism and all of that. all of that had its place. It's, that's great. But I think to some degree, some of it's gone too far. Men don't necessarily know their place in the world as well anymore. And I'm not saying us women should back off from any of that. No, we should just carry on being that, but also support men in, just support men a lot better and speak out about.
It's so, and I totally agree with what you just said then. And there are a couple of things on that. So, like whether it's right or what, no, it is wrong. Like, it's fact that guys, and I'm going to talk subjectively here. I'm just going to basically say how I feel, right? Guys feel, like me specifically, like we have to support our family. Like it's my other half works her butt off. She's the breadwinner. She's super busy, career woman, killed it. She's done so well. But still in my blood, I feel like I should be the main earner and providing. And that causes stresses. And the reason I say that is because, back to my point about being tough out there commercially, like businesses are getting kicked at the moment, right? So like there's a lot of stress commercially out there. So when you then couple that with guys that see, I don't know, they go on Insta or TikTok and they see successful people in their PJs or business that are doing really well, or Sky News business you're seeing really good results, and you're sat there as a dad owner going, fuck, I'm crap. I'm not pulling this off. Like, this is not cool. Like, so there's just yeah. I honestly think we're in it's a tricky time out there actually at the moment, which is physically why I didn't have one person, my whole group of men on my last workshop, so they were below an 8. And 8 is high, guys.
Yeah.
8 is high in stress, right? That's like,
because they're probably tempering that a little bit as well. They're probably like, oh, how high can I go? If I said a 10, would they be carrying me off in a stretcher? Do you know what I mean? Like, so 8's probably
diverse group. We have a proper diverse group. People from London, people from Devon, people from locally. Real spread. Probably ages 25 up to about late 40s.
Oh, right, yeah.
I'm just saying, out there, it isn't easy at the moment. So, and sorry, my final point is, like, the lad brand is never a good brand. When people talk about guys going away and doing stuff, they always think about alcohol involved and things like that. But like, two of the guys, when we were sat around in the pub having a pint, not loads of pints, a pint, we're talking about they want to go and do things like horse trail riding or mountain bike stuff. It was more action adventure with the guys. It wasn't just like go on a golf and boozy holiday or go to Magaluf. It was, they wanted a bit of adventure as well. So I think that's my point about the lads trips almost needs a bit of a rebrand. It's not, people just assume it's always.
Yeah.
I hear
like a boozy holiday.
There's a real space for it, for men to get away. Like I say, we talked at the start about new things, like trying new experiences, right? So going away, doing surfing and horse riding, but being together with men, having a beer in the evening. I think,
yeah. And also, I think the thing that we see a lot with midlife guys, and like we're talking, some of our clients are in their kind of like mid-50s going into their 60s. I think also what happens is men do become, as a general thing, I'm not saying all, but become more isolated. If they've been in their working environment, and we're talking not necessarily like entrepreneurs, but we're talking like people that have been in the same company for a while. They've got their friends that they know in the company, and that's kind of their social network. Maybe they haven't really got much time for anything outside of that. So some of their friendship groups have fallen away as they've been climbing the career ladder. And I think that time that they get to in their life where they're looking at retirement, that can be like, I speak to some of my midlife female clients, and they're like, actually, my husband, my partner, had a complete like breakdown. That's not uncommon for them almost to have like complete breakdowns and meltdowns because they don't know what their purpose is, and they feel very isolated, and so they don't have that ability to go and let off steam. We're on a branded lads holiday. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, exactly. It's just, I don't know, it's really interesting. I've just, every single, whether it's at dinners or parties that I've been to, or even workshops, I'm hearing a lot of the same things come back. which I find just that obviously that insight that is true, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like it's just it's coming back. So no, it's cool. Look, I love what we do. It's you know, I'm thinking about even the group yesterday, the mixed group we had yesterday, super diverse. And it's wicked. It's wicked. I'm super excited.
Yeah.
You're doing an awesome job, Joe. It's really great. So let's just recap. You've got the one-to-one coaching via the app. You've got workshops. You've got retreats. But I know you've got some other exciting stuff.
Yes.
What's next for Halen?
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah.
So we're working with an amazing company called iFit. So iFit's a big American fitness brand, online fitness brand. So we're working with those guys at the moment to cover lots of their breath work and their ice work and cold immersion. There's something really interesting about cold immersion that we hear a lot, that if we weren't there to help people, I don't just mean us. I'm not going to be like evangelical and make us sound like we're Jesus, because we're really not. We're the opposite of Jesus. Jesus has tattoos and stuff, right? Or maybe we are. That if there weren't people guiding them through the ice work, they just wouldn't do it. Like they would struggle to do it because it's bloody intimidating, right? It can be quite intimidating, that stuff. So we're looking at some guided stuff there, working it up, and hopefully launching. Hopefully launching in the next few months.
That's so exciting.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Cool, man. It's cool.
Breaking into
cool.
America.
Come on, bring on America. Oh my God, get me to America any day. No, a bit of both. I think a bit of both.
Yeah.
But I loved it when we launched Halen. I'll never forget this. When we launched it, like 3.5 years ago, 4 years ago, and the sessions were going, and I saw like a Japanese email address, and I was like, what? Like it was literally, it was on a server I'd never heard before. And it was this high-flying Japanese businesswoman in Tokyo that had seen us somehow and wanted to work with a British coaching company. And yeah, so I love the digital world, right? Sometimes how it can just stretch and you can do stuff like that. It was really cool.
Yeah, well, we
Awesome.
traveled around America in October, didn't we? Well, bits of it, and we love the States, and also, you know, it was a lot sunnier than here. I'm with you, Joe. I'm with you. Like, I don't even think you're as bad as me. I am a proper grump when it's like I'm a proper grump when it's not nice weather, and we've split our time, but since we've been together between Spain and the UK. But this is the first time you're saying about it's been a long winter. It's really interesting that you say that, because we haven't been here for that long in the winter before, and we were like, is it always like this? Is it always this? Like
the never ending
January?
Yeah, exactly. I hope it's not. I hope it's not that it's going to change. I'm just praying that. I mean, I'm looking now, the sun's shining, right? So it's beautiful. But yeah, it definitely affects certain people, right? It definitely does. But no, it's wicked. It's I like I said, I love what we're doing, and we also hopefully, I can't mention it yet, but we've got something really exciting working with a government organization, which would be really, really cool to go and do a big project with those guys. So yeah.
Fantastic.
But it's not easy. It's not freaking easy. And it's
not
like
easy. And it's, do you know what, Joe, it's so refreshing to hear you say that, right? Because, you know, we touched on like the positive side of like the digital world there. You can reach people globally, right? It is amazing, that part. But then the flip side is the social media part. Like you say, you got these like entrepreneurs in inverted commas
leaning against their Ferrari.
Yeah, if you're not making like 20,000 a month after a week in business, you're doing something wrong. And you're just like, oh man, no. It's the truth is it's hard grind. It's hard grind.
Bollocks. And in fact, business is hard. Anyone that ever tells you they figured out the algorithm, they would be worth billions of pounds. Whether you're working with an agency that tells you that they figured out how to hack the TikTok algo, they obviously haven't. Otherwise, they wouldn't be having a call with you, right? So that always makes me laugh when people say they can figure out rough conversions on that stuff. But you just have to do what you love. You just have to be into it, because it's hard. Life's hard, right? And other things get in the way. But if you do what you love and you can make money and pay bills, like just keep doing it. Right?
Totally, hon. Like it's so refreshing to have that conversation, because you know you have to, like you say, you have to do what you love. You have to be prepared for the sleepless nights, the failures, the wondering if it's all worth it. But what gets you up each time is that mission. Like, and it's yeah. I mean, how many times have we fallen down, scraped our knees, and had to get back up again? Like multi amounts of times. So, but thank you for sharing that, because sometimes we can do this podcast. Yeah.
How long have you guys been going? How long have you guys been rocking and rolling?
So we actually launched Midlife Mentors. We started the podcast 2019, but all the coaching, again, we launched it during lockdown. So
mid 2020. Yeah. And then we were running retreats. So we've been running retreats. Well, you have. I came to join you over in Ibiza, but you were running them since 2012.
Yeah.
So been in the we've both been in the wellbeing space since 2012. Yeah.
It's so funny. It's so funny. Like, again, I'm going to be very honest with you guys, which we should. No matter who you are, you see someone else doing something really, really cool, right? So you say like something on LinkedIn where they've landed a client. It always kind of makes you go, fuck, I'm not quite doing. I should be landing things like that. I should be doing that. I should be. We live in this world where we're constantly comparing.
Oh, completely.
Right?
Like, yeah,
and
we do it all the time too. We do that. Yeah. We do that.
We've been conditioned by social media to be permanently dissatisfied with what we've got.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which isn't healthy.
Exactly. And so you just cut the noise out. Just cut the noise out. Just focus on what you love. Work with wicked people. Make people laugh. Make people smile. Help people. It's just cool, isn't it? Like, screw.
And also, Joe, like surrounding yourself with honest people. You know, like this conversation is, that's what we want. Like cutting out all that, like you said, like all the noise, all the utter bullshit, and just being actually, I know this is overused, but like as authentic as you possibly can. Because, you know, and that's what people, I feel like that's what attracts your tribe, right? Like we're talking to you because you're of a similar kind of understanding to us, that you want to be honest and say it's really hard sometimes. And of course, you other people and compare yourself. Like, I'm listening to you go, oh my goodness, it's just amazing. And like, why aren't we doing stuff like that? But that's just, I think that's how we are. But I think now we're much better at just staying in our own lane, doing what we love, and knowing that the right people will come to us.
Yeah, exactly. Know that right people come to you. And I'm a big believer in fate. I'm not religious, but I do believe in what will be, will be. I do. Like, things just happen for a reason. And with Halen, this last year, for some weird reason, things have just gone ding, ding, ding. And it's just gone bing, bing. And things are just connected just randomly. But like, you know, it's just, this is cliche and it's like stupid, cheeky, but it's just, you just don't give up. If you don't give up, you will create something really special. That doesn't mean big, does it? It doesn't mean big or valuable from a monetary standpoint, but it just means special, and it will be, that's what it's about.
I love that. And well done on your success, and may it just keep continuing.
Yeah, thanks for inspiring us.
And you guys, thanks for having me.
Joe, if people want to find out more about Halen, where can they get in touch with you?
So they can go on the website, which is halenstrength.com, or Insta. Again, the handle is Halen Strength, @Halen Strength. So either.
Great. We'll put that in the show notes as well. Joe, thank you so much for your time. It's been a great chat.
Thanks, Joe. It's been amazing.
Thanks, thanks guys. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. You've been listening to the Midlife Mentors with Claire and James Davis.
We'd love to hear from you. So drop us a line at info@themidlifementors.com with any questions or topic suggestions.
And make sure you join us on our Facebook page and YouTube channel. You can find us under the Midlife Mentors. Yeah. What? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode. And don't forget to take the Midlife Reset audit now to receive personalised insights into what's holding you back from living your healthiest, happiest midlife. So go ahead and take the audit now at themidlifementors.com/audit.